you want to unmute yourself, you can just unmute yourself, and we'll get and we'll have a chat. So welcome everybody. This is Tech for Seniors. This is May the 4th, 2020. This is our 6th show, and I'd like to welcome my co-host Hewie. Hewie, can you give us a wave? And Bob G over there. Bob's in charge of our security. He'll be doing a security tip today, and Bob has agreed to do a security tip every week for us. So thank you, Bob. He's everyone knows Bob, and he's probably been to your club for sure. And so he's going to do a security tip each week for us, right between our Hewie and my talk in the morning, or the first part of our talk. So the way that today is we're going to go is I'm going to do a little chat, and then Bob's going to do his security talk, and then Huey's going to do another 7 minutes. And we didn't get any questions this week, so I'm just going to yak along and use up my 7 minutes, and then we're going to, I'm going to talk about some, talk for 15 minutes, and then Huey's going to talk for 15 minutes, and then we've got Dewey. You know, this is confusing. Huey and Dewey, like, this is tough. Anyway, Dewey's going to talk on some topics for the last 10 minutes there. So it should be an action-packed show today, so I hope everybody enjoys it. Now, as you all know, these are taped. We're recording this, and all the sessions are put on our on a website, and it's on YouTube. So if you go to and you watch any of these on YouTube, you will find, if you click the link just below YouTube, you'll see a list of all the shows, and this will be show number 6. So I had a request from a number of you saying, can we index them, or can we somehow, you know, get an outline? Because if, you know, when we get up to 20 or 30 shows, if you want to go back and find some information, it's hard to do that. And so I'm asking anybody, you can email me privately if we need some help. And what the help is that I need is someone just to go through the show and index it, which is just sort of say what we talk about, and if you want to put a timestamp on there, and then you could send it back to me just as an email, and I can copy and paste it into the bottom of the YouTube video. And that will really help people when they go back. They can see what see what's in each video. And I just don't have time to do that. So if anyone can help me with that, if you can just email me privately, we'll work on this. Real simple. All you have to do is just listen to the video, and then just jot down what the topics are. So I brought something today, and I wanted to show everybody this. Now, does anyone know what this is? Can you see it?
You were a doctor, right?
So
it disappears in your virtual background.
Is it? Yeah, I guess it's hard to see. You can't see it.
Okay, it looks like a mason jar.
It is. So it's a mason jar, and it's got some raisins in it with some water. This is my sourdough culture I'm starting. So I wanted to tell everybody I'm starting a sourdough culture. This is the first day, so I put some raisins and water in this.
You're making hooch.
Later on today, it's going to have some flour in it, and I'll let you know each week as it grows. And then it's supposed to, we're supposed to be able to have sourdough bread, which I like, and make some crumpets with this. And I'm going to have I'm going to actually do a little video on making crumpets with sourdough. So I'll let you all know how that's going to turn out. But this is my sourdough starter. So anyway, it's not much because I just did it last night, so it hasn't done much yet. But anyway, that'll probably be a poll next week when I figure out how to work that, is who's doing sourdough culture, and how you know, that should be fun. All right, what I want to talk about today is is I want to talk about cell phones. And I wanted to do this for a couple of weeks now, but I ran out of time all of it. But I want to talk about 3 phones that recently got released, and just to let you know what's happening. And if you're interested in a cell phone, you might be interested in one of these 3. There've been 3 releases in the last couple of weeks. The first release was the OnePlus 8. Now, you may or may not have heard of the OnePlus 8, but it's very interesting. The OnePlus 8 is the 4th most popular phone in the United States, which is interesting. And it is the OnePlus series has an extremely loyal following, and people love it. And they released the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro about 2 weeks ago, and I was at the event where the release occurred. Now, the thing about the new OnePlus 8 is that it has the Snapdragon 865 chip with the X55 modem in it, which means it is 5G compatible. And this is a phone that will be sold by both T-Mobile and Verizon. So it was sold last year by T-Mobile, but Verizon is picking it up again. And this has it is an extremely fast, this is the 865 chip is the fastest chip that's made today. And it is the same one that the Samsung S20 has in it. So it's a great phone, and you might want to consider it since it is all 5G compatible. And the other thing with the phone is that, as you know, there's the 4-inch and the 7-inch. There's always 2 sizes. The smaller phone is starting pricing at $700. Now that's $300 less than the S20. This is a very high end. This is the fastest phone you can buy. This is a very high end phone, and so it's priced at about $300 less than the starting of the Samsung S20. So if you are interested, or you have heard about OnePlus and it's something you might want to consider, and particularly if you're looking at a 5G phone, this will work on both Verizon and T-Mobile's network. The next one that was released is of course the iPhone SE, and this was released the last week, actually, I think it was. And in the tech world, we call this a butt kicker because it's going to kick some butt. And it's a pretty cool phone, and it's coming in at about $400. Now the SE, the thing about the SE is that it has the chip in it, the A13 chip. Now you may or may not know, but most of the chips around the world for cell phones are made by a company called Qualcomm. Well, Apple now makes their own chip. They actually have their own factory, and they make their own chips to put in phones. Only company in the world that does that, but they actually have their own chip, and it's called the A13. And this is a chip that's in their flagship phones. I think it's the iPhone 11, and it will be, as you go up as they bring out new ones each year in their flagship phones, it will have the A13 chip. Well, Apple put the A13 chip in the SE, the new iPhone SE, and that's coming in at $400. So it is a screaming phone. It's great, and they brought it in last week of course, to compete with the phone that's going to be released in a couple of weeks, and that, of course, is the Pixel 4a. And you know, this is going to be very interesting to see what happened. I'm sure they released it this week just to give a bit of a kick in the butt to Google. So Google's going to be releasing their 4a phone in another week, and it's probably going to come in at about $400. It's as you know, there was I have the Pixel 3. And if anyone has a Pixel phone, and if you're on our mailing list, if you're not on our mailing list, then let me know, because I send out Pixel newsletter for people that have Pixel phones. So anyway, I have the Pixel 3, but I was ready to buy the Pixel 4 when it came out last October, but it really didn't get very good reviews. And there were some problems with the battery and so on and so forth. And so what happened is they couldn't sell very many Pixel 4s. Well, then the 4A is going to be released next week, and they've made a lot of modifications and changes, and it's going to come in at around $400. Now, it'll be interesting because Apple priced their SE at $400 as well, so you may see Google even discount the 4A even more and drop it down even below $400. We don't know yet what the final price is going to be, but if you are considering a Pixel phone, then you might want to look at the 4A, which is coming out in another couple of weeks. All right, I think so. That's my little talk on phones. We will now turn it over to Bob, and he's going to do a little security talk. Bob, are you okay? We'll unmute you there.
You're muted.
You're muted, Bob.
I'm not anymore.
Okay, there we go.
No, I have to go back out because I need to share my sound. Otherwise, this is
No,
not
you
going
can
to
do
work.
it. You can do it. No, no.
I can do it from in here.
Yeah, just click the more. No, where is it?
Security.
Maybe hit the
Security.
security, and then you can.
Boy, my screen's flashing all around.
Huh.
I'll just go out and come back then, I guess.
Yeah, just unshare and then come back in, Bob.
Yep. Okay. Let's make this thing a little bit bigger. Thanks to Avast Software, here is the Security News Roundup for the week ending May 1st, 2020. A new malware called EventBot is infecting Android devices. It steals login credentials for bank apps and cryptocurrency wallets. EventBot is designed to target over 200 banking and finance applications such as PayPal, Capital One, and Coinbase. It will masquerade as legitimate Android apps such as Microsoft Word, Adobe Flash, and many others. Currently, it is peddled via illegal and unofficial app stores, something all of us should avoid at all times. $500,000 in 5 months. That's how much sextortioners have netted within that time frame, according to security researchers analyzing the trends. Sextortion is the fraud scheme that threatens users with the release of videos showing their online porn habits if they do not pay a financial demand. Should also realize most of these things are totally fake. They don't have anything, but if you've got a guilty conscience, well, who knows? You might just want to go ahead and pay up. Pirated movies are also now being infected with malware. First of all, you shouldn't be downloading pirated movies. You're taking away somebody's livelihood. Malware distributors are taking advantage of the surge in pirate downloads during the shelter-in-place lockdowns happening in many countries. Get them legit, you don't have to worry about it. Pirate, and you may wind up with more than just the movie. On the lighter side, Shade Ransomware, which has been holding many computers at ransom, has given up. They've decided to go out of business. They've returned many keys, and they have offered an apology to their victims. Some hackers who serve time are hacking again. A California journalist was indicted by a federal grand jury back in 2013. He has just gotten out of jail in 2019. He took a job as a digital editor with another magazine, but quit in January 2020 after a dispute with the management. He now stands accused of hacking into Comstock magazine's web accounts and deleting its YouTube videos and YouTube account. And yes, forensic analysts have already revealed that he actually did this misdeed. Don't know what's in the hearts of some people, but some people never ever seem to learn. That's it for this week's Security News. See you next week. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Hewie, you're
Yes,
on.
all right. All right. Let me share my screen. And oops, already got it open, and I'm probably opening it a second time. There we go. Now full screen. I did get an email from somebody who was a little confused from my presentation last week on Colorize. They didn't realize that the Colorize, and I have it wrong in the slide, there's 2 dashes there, and there's only 1 dash in the actual website. But there was some confusion that to the point that Colorize it actually is an online program. So I answered the person who had the question with putting together some pictures, screenshots, and some information, and I just made it into a quick PowerPoint for us for today. So let's so when you go to Colorize it, go to the website, you're actually, if you do colorizeit.com, you're actually going to be then taken to the Algorithma website, and that website's address is down on the bottom of the screen, so don't worry about it. It is the right place. To start, you may try one of their samples, which are on the screen here, or you can use any of your own pictures. And what you do is go where it says upload, and I've got it circled. You click that, and what will happen is you'll get a dialog box, and you go find the picture you want to use, click it, and it will upload it. You can also copy and paste the address of a photo if it's online. Then it'll start doing its thing. And it'll say colorizing your photos. Those little dots kind of flash on and off, and it can take several minutes. Actually, it can take several minutes and then some more, and then it just doesn't work. When that happens, it may say algorithm did not complete within 300 seconds. I've had it go, that which is 5 minutes. I've had it go 8 or 10 minutes, and then finally that pops up. But sometimes it just doesn't work. You try it again a couple of times. If it still doesn't work, wait a little while and go back on. Their servers are probably busy is what causes it. So, but when it does work, you'll get a screen that looks like this. That purple line, you can slide back and forth, as indicated here. With your mouse, you slide it back and forth. You'll see the colorized on one side, the black and white on the other. Wherever you leave it, at the bottom, you have 2 choices. You can download the comparison, and wherever you've left that purple line, that's where the colorized comparison is going to show in the picture that you download. And then there's also a place where you can download just the colorized image by just clicking at the bottom of the page. So it's all done online. You don't have to install anything. You don't have to do anything. Just follow what I just did, and that's it. I'm going to show you some more online editing and graphic programs that I found this week, and I think you'll find that interesting in my main presentation coming up a little bit later.
Thanks,
And with
Hewie.
that, I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, Hewie. Great. This week, there was a big announcement from Facebook, and they announced that they have enabled the feature in Facebook that allows you to save your pictures off Facebook directly into Google Photos. This is a new feature, and I've made a video on just how to do that and how to set it up. One of the problems I always had with Facebook is that, you know, people share their pictures with you and you see them on there, and then I'd say, gee, I want to show that to Gail, and then I would go out, and when I came back in, the picture's not there. And it was, and anyway, I want to save all my pictures in Google Photos. I don't want to save them in Facebook. So, and they've been working on this project for over a year now, and in other parts of the world, it was turned on. And they just turned the software on this week, and you are now able to save your pictures directly from Google Photos, or sorry, right from Facebook to Google Photos. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I have made a YouTube video. It's published on YouTube now, and I'll put the link on later on. I'll give you the link in the chat, and it'll be in the show notes as well. But so this is a video that I've made for you. Let me just share my screen here, and we will share this, and then we will come down here. Should be right here. Here we go.
Good afternoon, it's Ron Brown with Silvercom Computer and Technology Club. Today I made a short video on how to save your pictures directly from Facebook into Google Photos. On April 29th, 2020, Facebook announced changes to its software that will allow you to save pictures or videos directly to Google Photos. Hooray! They've been talking about this for a year, and this week they enabled it in Canada and the United States. So the goal of this video is to show you the Facebook settings to enable Google Photos. The problem with Facebook is if you see a great picture of family or friends, when you go back to the Facebook page, it's gone. The downloading process is usually a multi-stage process, and I want all my pictures just to be in Google Photos. So let's look how you can set this up in your Facebook app. So watch the screen here as we click the three-dot menu, the three-line menu at the top, and we come down to Settings. We're then going to come down through the account settings all the way down to the bottom. And you are going to see transfer a copy of your photo or video. This is the new section right here. Transfer a copy of your photos or videos. We'll click this. And now we'll be choosing presentation. And this is the section where you're going to, there probably in the future will be more places where you can send your pictures, but at present we're going to choose, the only option is Google Photos. So we'll choose the destination, Google Photos. Now you can see that I've already completed the transfer process. I've already set it up. So we won't be completing everything here. You can choose photos or videos to be uploaded. And then we're going to choose Next. And we're going to come now to a menu which is your Google account. Here is where you'll want to sign in to your Google account, and you have to give access so Facebook can now have access to your Google Photos account. Once this occurs, you click on Allow. And this will allow the communication between Facebook and Google Photos. We're going to confirm the transfer. And this is where I'm going to stop the process because I've already configured this. You will go through one more menu where it will take you back, and you'll have to log into Facebook, and you will complete the transfer. But we're going to stop this now. So let's go now to a Facebook picture and see if we can transfer it to Google Photos. So here's a picture in Facebook that I'd like to save. So I click on the picture. And now we're going to bring up to the three-dot menu at the top right. And this brings up a Share External. And now you'll be able to see the Google Photos. There's Google Upload to Google Photos. We're going to click on this button here, and you'll see that we are going to be able to upload this to Google Photos. Here we go. The uploading is taking place, and this is going to upload it directly from Facebook into Google Photos. Let's check. Let's go over to Google Photos and see if my picture is there. We'll open Google Photos. It's going to take a second to refresh. And I think my picture is there. There's the picture directly from Facebook into Google Photos. So this is just a short video. Recent changes to Facebook allow you to save your pictures or videos directly into Google Photos. Ron Brown with Silvercom Computer and Technology Club. Have a great day.
So that was a video on how to, and that you can play that over and over. It's on YouTube, and I'll put a link, and you can watch that. But just about before you have any questions, that is what I showed you was on the Facebook Android app. It's a little bit different if you do it on the web version. Bob?
My only question is the permission that you grant. Does that now give Facebook unlimited permission to access your Google Photos?
It just gives permission for the photo to be transferred over to Google Photos. It doesn't give the permission to access it, just to transfer the pictures.
Ron,
So I think you're...
Yeah,
Ron,
that was my concern.
Yeah.
Ron, can you do the same thing for Picasa Photos to Google Photos for us, please?
There's no Picasa Photos anymore. Picasa's gone.
No,
So,
I know that, but I still have it program.
yeah, so you won't be able to transfer. You won't be able to see. This is transferring this right from Facebook to Google Photos. So it's a direct transfer over. Now the menu's a little bit different if you do this on the web version. But it's still the same principle. You just follow through that, go to settings and go down, and then you transfer. And then this is huge. This is really a big deal. I mean, it's so simple now to be able to transfer your pictures out of Facebook. So I was really pleased. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this to come, and it's here. So that's why I made the video. And but you have to set it up first. You have to go through that initial stages of setting the transfer process up. And once that's set up, then then away you go. And it's only one way. It's only from Facebook to Google Photos. You can't do it the other way around. It's just a one-way transfer. Okay,
Ron,
that's it.
Ron, I have one quick question.
Sure.
When you set it up, it doesn't send any pictures until you tell it to. Is that correct, or is it? It doesn't just grab all your a bunch of pictures and send them. Okay,
no.
good.
You have to, as I showed you in the end of the video there, you have to select the picture. You have to say you want to share it, and then you say I want to share it to Google Photos, and that's the link that shares it. Okay. And you have to actually ask it to do that, and you only do one picture at a time. Bob?
You've been able to transfer pictures, not transfer, but post pictures that you have on Google Photos on Facebook for a long time already. It doesn't transfer them, it just allows you to post them.
Yeah. But this is the other way around. This is the problem that if you saw, if Aunt Mary has her picture on Facebook and you want that cool picture, before you had to, well, a long time ago you couldn't actually do this, but lately you had to download the picture, you had to download it onto your PC, and then you had to sort of, once you downloaded it, then you had to upload it back into Google Photos. This makes it just a direct transfer. And if you don't want it, you don't have to set that up. It's up to you. And you can also do videos. So you have to do that process twice. You go through it the first time for your photos, and then the second time you say video, and you'll complete the, and then if you see any crazy videos on YouTube that you like, you can easily just save them to your Google Photos as a video. So you can, with video or pictures, either one. And once it's in Google Photos, then of course you have all the other options in Google Photos to do whatever you want with those pictures. All right, Hewie, take it away.
All right. What am I taking away? Hang on a second. There we go. And sometimes I want to share some information on Facebook or in a presentation, and there's some things on, and I'll take a screenshot, and there's some things in that screenshot I really don't want to share. And so I want to pixelate or blur some parts or all of the image. And I found some online program or websites that allow you to do this, and one of them actually does a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm going to share that second. So I'm going to look at the second one first, and let's see, so I want to, not now, and the second one is called Face Pixelizer, is what I'm going to show, and I'm going to show a little bit of a video. I'm going to show you all of the video. It's a short video. It's not very long, that kind of explains how it works, and then I'm going to demonstrate it.
Pixelizer is a specialized
and why am I not getting any audio?
To use Face Pixelizer,
I can hear it, Dewey. I can hear it.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm not hearing it.
You drag an image from your desktop onto Face Pixelizer. So, for example, if you're writing a blog about some privacy feature of Facebook, you might want to include a screenshot like this one. But you might also want to protect the privacy of your friends. So, you would want to obscure faces and names in this image. So let me show you some of the features of Face Pixelizer. Face Pixelizer has face detection that's quite handy if there's a lot of faces in your image. The face detection runs in the browser, and it works quite well. But it doesn't catch all faces. For example, faces that are tilted, or faces that are looking to the side. But it's quite easy to find and touch up those faces using the selection tool. So let me show you the features of the selection tool. The selection tool has two modes, auto and manual. In auto mode, text is blurred and faces are pixelated. But in addition, large text is blurred a lot, while small text is blurred less. And similarly, large faces are pixelated more than small faces. So notice that when I pixelize this face versus the small face, the pixels are much smaller in the small face. However, if you were to scale it up, it would be very similar. If you're not happy with what auto mode gives you, then you can switch to manual mode. Let's revert first. In manual mode, you can control precisely the effect that is applied. For example, you can choose between blur, pixelate, and solid. So, for example, if we choose blur and blur the text here, then it is blurred an appropriate amount. However, if we blur this larger text without changing the settings, then you can see that the title is not blurred enough. This is why auto mode is quite handy, because it will blur the appropriate amount whether the text is big or small. The last feature of Face Pixelizer that I want to tell you about is how to undo. To apply an effect, you drag the mouse down and to the right. But to undo, you drag the mouse in the opposite direction. So, down and to the right is to apply an effect, and up and to the left to undo the effect. Once you are happy with your image, you can simply press Save, and your image will be saved with the word Censored appended to the file name.
All right, let's take a quick look at it. This is Face Pixelizer. And I'm loading it right now. While I'm doing that, I want to open up my folder with some sample pictures. Now, of course, I'm in the wrong place. No, I'm not. Let's see. Yep, I'm in the wrong place. So let me go find the documents that I need. Come on. And sorry about that. You can see that I have a lot of things. And we're going to take a picture and drop it on here. Let's take one we've used before, and I'm just going to drop it over here. You'll see that immediately it's there. Now, if you remember, this is either the same picture or a similar one that I used last week when I colorized it. Okay, now if I hit auto and hit pixelate, it just takes a couple of seconds. And I'm lying. Come on. And you'll see this girl is looking over to the side. So if I do a manual and just pixelate her there, and it can do it that way. And that pretty much, I think everybody now is pixelated. So that's how easy it is. But I want to show you something else that I think is really cool. I'm going to keep it on blur. Let's see, I'm going to keep it on manual. I'm going to tell it I want to blur it. And what I'm going to do is, if you remember, if you go like this and click here, you blur the whole picture. Then to unblur, you go up. So let's say I want to say, okay, I'm talking about this person, and they're, whoopsie. There I am, and there's somebody over here. So I can highlight just a couple of people, and everybody else is blurred in that picture, and then you just save it, and you've got everybody blurred but the people you want seen in the picture. So I think that's a really nice way to do it. And then, of course, if you're doing something with a Facebook page, you can start blurring out each person's face and their name or address and some information that you don't want to show. So that's one of the programs. And then the other program is called Lunapic. And Lunapic does basically the same thing, but I discovered a few things that are really neat about it. And let's bring it up. This one, you choose, it's got a whole, you can get all kinds of file information. You can do edit, adjust, draw, borders, filters, and it does pixelate. But if you don't want to do that, what I've got some expensive programs that do something that I really like to do. And let's see if I can find, let's see, where's the picture that I used? I used this one. Whoops, where am I here? Cancel. I'm trying to do too many things at once. Okay, choose a file. Okay. I want to upload. Come on, what's it? It's waiting for something here. There we go. All right, it's in the wrong place, of course. Cancel. Come on, catch up. So it went away. Come on. Choose a file. It wants to be slow. And I need to go to this PC. Come on. Computers want to get slow when you want to show off something, right? Documents. Of course, I bury these things so far in. What's the name of the pixelate? There we go, pixel. I'll be right there. Okay, so we're going to take, let's see, this picture right here and say open it. It's a picture of me. It's uploading it. Now I can pixelate any kind of a picture the same as I could with the other program. But what I really like about this is I like to have either a pencil drawing or some kind of a drawing of a picture. Now, right now it's showing it because it's there's some background filtered out, but let's go to art and let's go to sketch 2. And see what it does. And it makes a sketch. Or the one I ended up doing, and you've got to undo the effect before you go to the next one, or it just compiles them so you get more. So I want to undo the effect. And then I'm going to go back up to art. This is what the picture actually looks like. And I'm going to go to art, and I'm going to go, I picked Picasso, and you'll see that I'm actually using this on my Facebook. I'm using it as my picture now in here. So you're going to see what I came up with. And that was the picture and I'm using that now for several things. So, and experiment. There's all kinds of choices there of all kinds of effects and art, and go play it. You'll spend hours with it. I did. And so on that note, we'll go ahead and stop the share. And I hope you enjoyed both of those programs. They're free. You can play it to your heart's content and play around with it, use them. But also pixelate and blur when you're posting things either on your web page, on your Facebook page, on your if you're part of a user group, on your user group page. Some people don't like their picture, blur their faces and so on. Bob?
You answered the question that I asked on Facebook. Thank you.
Yes, I told you I was going to answer it today.
All right. Thanks, Bob. Or thank you, Hewie. Dewey, you're up. I've unmuted.
Have you unmuted me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Very good. I'm Dewey Close, a 20-year member of Silvercom Computer and Technology Club at Silveridge RV Resort in Mesa. And I'd like to do a little presentation called Tips on Buying a New TV. I will ask your indulgence in allowing me to read my presentation so that I can get through this pretty swiftly without hemming and hawing. A little background. My 11-and-a-half-year-old Samsung TV in our main family room began failing recently. I figured that since I was likely to last longer than this TV, I should begin the process of buying a new one. I take pride in being a good shopper, so here are my tips on how to buy a new TV. I have 9 points in my presentation. Point 1, be methodical when buying a new TV. study your needs and wants. Decide the size of TV that works best for you. Determine your present and future HDMI and other port needs. And then third, good to do a Google search to brush up on recent advances in TV technology. I could go on and on about this type of stuff, but my advice is to take time first to do a lot of study and research to determine finally the one or two models of TV that would work best for you. Then research after that, once you determine it, then research where you can get the best deal, the best price, best conditions and all. Point number 2, TV size. 55 and 65-inch TVs are currently the most popular sizes. You can expect to pay $500 to close to $1,000 for good TVs in this size range. If you're not sure of what size to buy, I've got a little formula for you. Measure your typical viewing distance from chair to TV, actually from your eyeballs to the TV in inches. Then calculate 2/3 of that distance also in inches, and the resulting number will give you roughly the diagonal size of TV you should buy. For instance, if you sit about 10 feet from your TV typically, that would be 120 inches. 2/3 of 120 inches is 80 inches, and a 75 to 85-inch set would be probably the best for you. In my situation, I sit about 100 inches from my TV. 2/3 of that distance is, well, 67 inches, shall we say. I ended up buying a 65-inch TV, and the size is just perfect. Point 3, TV resolution. You know, you've heard about, the old standard was 1080p, and currently most of the TVs on the market are 4K TVs. And I certainly suggest and strongly advise that you buy a 4K TV if you're buying a TV of 40 inches or larger. Below 40 inches, TV will, the 1080p is virtually high definition enough. I mean, it's almost the same as a 80, 90 inch up in the 4K range. Okay, now the 1080p resolution gives you over 2 million pixels per square inch. That's the old standard. The new 4K standard gives you 4 times as many, actually about 8.3 million pixels. It's incredible when you think about it. Now, by the way, you've probably noticed that there are 8K TVs coming on the market. But at this time, there's no reason to pay 2 or 3 times as much just to get an 8K TV, because frankly, there's quite a limit of content. There's not much available out there for it. Point number 4, the type of TV screen you should buy. While there are many variations of screen types, there really are only 2 basic types, the LCD screen and the OLED. Remember the LED from our present light bulbs? This is an OLED. Now, LCD, the first one I mentioned, stands for, or means liquid crystal display. OLED means organic, light emitting diode. Now, most sets today are still the LCD sets because they're much less expensive and really quite good. Concerning OLED sets, they unquestionably have superior color with deeper blacks and also give you a wider viewing angle, which is good, especially if some of the seats are off to the side in your viewing area. Unfortunately, OLED TVs have some drawbacks. They are less bright than LCD sets, and also they have a propensity toward burn-in. You know, if there's the same picture on the screen for a while and then it goes away, there's an impression left of the old picture. By the way, an interesting point, one company makes all the OLED displays for all other manufacturers, and that company is LG in Korea. Point 5, refresh rate. This is something you don't think about much or hear much about. The old standard refresh rate was 60 hertz, 60 cycles per second. The new refresh rate, or that's getting to be fairly common is 120. It's much better. And in some really expensive sets, they now have a 240 hertz refresh rate. Point 6, you've seen these three letters often, HDR. What the heck do they mean? Well, it stands for high dynamic range. And be sure that the 4K set that you buy also has HDR, because it will increase the basic, it will deliver higher contrast, which means a larger color and brightness range. And in other words, it really improves the picture compared to standard range TVs. By the way, HDR is simply more visually impactful than 4K by itself, so do opt for it. Point number 7, in and out ports. It's a basic tip. Cheaper sets have less, more expensive sets have more. Ideally, you should buy a TV that has at least 3 HDMI ports, 4 if possible, and 2 USB ports. The USB ports come in handy at times for certain things which you'll learn about as you delve into how to run your TV. Also, it's great if you have at least one of those HDMI ports and one USB port with side access on the back of the TV, instead of having them all be located way down deep underneath where they're hard to get at, especially if you're hanging your TV on a wall, or mounting it on a wall, I should say. Okay, another thing, all HDMI ports should be HDCP 2.2 capable. I'll mention that again. All HDMI ports should be HDCP 2.2 capable. It's very complicated stuff, and I'm not going to go into it, but so just simply take my word for it. It's better if they are, and could be troublesome if they're not, that don't have that capability. Concerning HDMI cables, I learned that if you have any old HDMI cables that are more than about a decade old, 10 years old, you should buy new connecting cables, like to connect your DVD player to the TV. And you should choose a cable that's labeled as a high-speed 4K HDMI cable. The operative words there are high-speed 4K. Either or both of those sets of words are important. Point number 8, sound bars. Why do we even talk about sound bars? Well, the reasons are they've made these TVs so extra thin because they really look cool when they're like thin as a plate of glass. But the problem is that works against housing speakers, which need size to be good. Now, sound bars usually connect to a special HDMI port that's labeled as an HDMI ARC. It stands for Audio Return Channel. It's a special HDMI input with a stereo sound output. In other words, it's bidirectional. It still will work like a regular HDMI input, but it furnishes sound output, which is one of the several ways that you can connect sound bars. Now, concerning sound bars, there are 3 main types, and they're labeled as 2.0, or 2.0, 2.1, and 5.1. What do these numbers mean? Now, before the dot, the first number has to do with regular middle range, upper range speakers. The 0.1 or 0 stands for the presence or absence of a subwoofer speaker, a large speaker that gives fullness to the sound. And I'm a fan of good sound. I would never buy a sound bar without a subwoofer. So, and I don't need a 5.1 that gets into digital, Dolby Digital processing and some other things. So probably the best choice, at least for me and most people, would be a 2.1 sound bar, which costs roughly about $200 for a pretty good one. Excuse me. My last point is 9, some miscellaneous tips to help your buying decision. Most experts consider that the top 3 brands of TV are Sony, Samsung, and LG. And this is illustrated in the fact that a recent issue of Consumer Reports, actually the November 2019 issue, had a very extensive report comparing high definition televisions. And the first listing was for sets larger than 60 inches, I believe it is. And there were 42 sets listed. The first 30 sets were all either Sony, Samsung, or LG. And then the last dozen or so had Vizio and TCL and a few other sets in them. Now, by the way, Vizio and TCL are both pretty darn good sets, and they're sold, of course, by one of the big sellers, Costco. And there are altogether roughly about 15 to maybe 18 TV manufacturers or at least brands on the market. I would also suggest that you avoid extended warranties. Your seller and or your credit card company already provide free or low-cost purchase protection. And for your information, the TV that I ended up purchasing was an LG 65-inch series 8600 series that was introduced in late 2018 and has been on sale ever since. Now, frankly, I chose it because I could get such a good deal for a set that originally cost $1,500, and I ended up paying $846 or $47 for it. So I'm also a bargain hunter, and it's a heck of a good set. Well, anyway, happy buying, and if you have any questions, perhaps you could post them with Ron. Bye now.
Thank you, Dewey. Hey, guess what? It's 10 o'clock. Another hour has gone by. We're wrapping up another session of Tech for Seniors. So I'd like to thank Hewie. Thanks for your presentation. Thank Bob. Thank you so much for your security update. And thank you for keeping us safe. You kept those Zoom bombers out. Great stuff. And Dewey, thanks for a great tip on buying TVs. I'm sure we're all spending more time watching TVs at home. Anyway, until next Monday, same time, same place, the regular gang will all be there. We'll see you all next week. Okay, say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye
Have
now.
a good week. Thanks for coming.